Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is a new Game of Thrones reaction. And today we have Season 3, Episode 3, Walk of Punishment. And of course, I am joined by my co host for the series, Tyler. Hi, Tyler.
How's it going?
And we have a special guest this week from Candid Cinema, as well as about a million other sites. We have Manda. Hi, Manda.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I'm so excited.
Thanks for coming on. So, do you want to let everyone know just a little bit of your Game of Thrones background since you have, in fact, watched the show?
Yes, for sure. So I had actually binge watched seasons 1 to 4 leading into 5, and I did it in a week. So I was really happy that I caught up. The show is a phenomenon and it became an obsession. I am a lover of Rob Stark, but I also love Dany to no end, and I loved her character development throughout every single season. So she's a special one.
All right. Well, I think season 3 is a pretty great season for both Rob Stark and Daenerys as we get through their character developments here. So, sounds like we brought you on for the perfect season then. Well, taking a look back at what we just experienced with episode 2, we had Bran meet Jojen and Mira Reed, in which we learn that Jojen Reed also has these prolific dreams and is able to connect with and begin to help Bran understand what he's seeing. We also see that Catelyn Stark's dad died, and they are heading back to attend his funeral. And Lord Card Stark thinks that this is all just a waste of time and wants to get to the business of revenge on Jaime Lannister. Meanwhile, Jon meets a couple of interesting wildlings for the first time. We see a giant and we meet a warg. Meanwhile, we see the Lord Commander making sure that Samwell doesn't die. We were introduced to a new Tyler favorite in Lady Olenna Tyrell when Sansa is brought to the garden with Marjorie and Sir Loras, who Sansa still very much has a crush on. And we get to see them interrogate Sansa about what kind of king Joffrey actually is. Meanwhile, Marjorie puts that information to good use a little bit later and begins manipulation on Joffrey and his rather violent tendencies. Then we see Arya, Gendry, and Hot Pie get taken by the Brotherhood without banners, and we see that the Hound has also been captured by them. We saw Theon for the first time since season 2, and he is hung up and being tortured for information on why he took over Winterfell like he did. And finally, Brienne and Jaime continued their little journey, but Jaime gets a hold of Brienne's sword and they fight on a bridge. Brienne takes down the Kingslayer with relative ease before her kindness comes back to bite her, and the Boltons come and take them hostage. So that was the ending of episode 2. Let's see what the Walk of Punishment has to offer.
This theme song, though, like,
Yeah.
I love it. Dancing every time it comes on.
So which,
Yeah, I mean, I can see why it's so popular.
so it's not the red salmon, Tyler, but there's the Tully fish.
Yeah,
there.
I did notice the big fish. I just didn't want to say anything about it just yet.
Oop.
Well, we tried. All right, he's had enough.
Think of it. Move it.
Like, I'll do it myself. He did it in one shot, and he's like, "That's how you do it." And just walks away.
May have some bearing upon you.
Shut your
Don't call him nephew. He's your
Clearly, they
kid.
don't like each other.
I meant him no do.
Or I actually say he doesn't like him very much. I love that power stance as he's just standing next to his chair.
The best.
I mean, like the way they're just looking at him.
Which is why I'm naming you new Master of Coin. Master of Coin. I'm quite good at spending money, but a lifetime of outrageous wealth hasn't taught me much about money.
I have no doubt you will prove equal to this challenge.
My babies! I love them. Sorry.
I do enjoy their banter.
And I'm a woman.
They're
I'm
so
still
great.
beating you.
When we make camp tonight, you'll be raped. You'll be wise not to resist.
Would I? If you were a woman, you wouldn't resist. Let them do what they wanted.
If I was a woman, I'd make them kill me. I'm not, thank the gods.
You're good with that bow. You little twat.
The hound.
Like to fight up close.
What are you doing? We're about to leave.
Not hot pie.
My brother ain't no king.
Well, goodbye, hot pie.
Star of winter hell.
It's been real.
Fell. What is it?
It's a wolf.
Yeah. They say it's bread looks like it's shape of an animal, but I didn't know what kind of animal.
Yes, it is.
Goodbye, hot pie.
Goodbye, Harry.
Oh, goodbye. At least he knew his place in the sense that like he knew he was gonna go be a warrior somewhere. He's gonna go bake bread. He became Peeta from the Hunger Games.
How many times did Bran or Rickon stare across the moors of Winterfell waiting for me to return? I will never see them again.
Poor Catelyn.
She was a good crier. You know what I mean? Like when you
Yeah.
see people cry, like she was a good crier.
Yeah,
Right in the feels.
it's believable.
I think she's like one of the best actors on the show, personally.
100%. I agree.
Yeah, the people we've seen, yeah.
Turn into a wolf at night.
So, fun fact, that kid there is going to be recast
And
in
he
a
eats the
different
flesh
role
of
in
his
this show.
enemies.
In a more prominent role in this show.
Oh my god.
That's because that's not confusing or anything.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. Oh my god, my mind is blown. Like,
It's a lot of dismembered parts. I mean, they're designed well.
Recognize this house, Tyler?
Yeah. Are we gonna see what's her face again?
Oh, Ghost.
Ghost is just like, leave me alone, Samuel.
I saved your life. Leave me alone now.
Like you idiot.
What a gem.
Playing tough, but he knows don't mess with the Lord Commander.
Yeah. They're all about that action.
They belong.
Oh.
They'll follow you.
There he goes.
That you feed that pig better than you feed us. Pig's got value to me. If I wasn't a godly man, you were a godly man.
Yeah. Shut that down real quick.
When thy cold comes, women. That's how right there gave birth to a litter of 8, barely a grunt. But she's almost as fat as this one here.
Samuel just shook.
There she is.
Oh, what a shock.
One more push should do it.
Samuel just peeking through.
Oh,
A baby.
a boy.
Uh-oh.
Oh god.
Well, now he's got to definitely try and get her out of there. And we're back to Mr. Theon getting tortured again.
You ready for some more
That's
torture,
all he does
Tyler?
in the show. That's all he does in the show.
Not in the Iron Islands. Go.
Yeah, Theon's like, where the hell am I then?
Still in the north that you ransacked, Theon.
He's such a badass. Oh my god. Love it.
I want Joffrey dead.
Me too, Stannis. Me too.
Stark dead.
Okay, well, I don't agree with that one, but I agree with you had me in the first half.
Another son. I want you.
Oh,
Well, damn.
apparently he doesn't care about the demon baby. He just wants the before process.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at her. I don't blame him.
I'm the one true king.
You are. But there are others with your blood in their veins.
Hmm.
Who?
Any slave who contemplates doing whatever these slaves do.
Give me your water.
Baby girl.
Well, I guess it's nice of her to offer some water in this trying time.
The blood of my enemies, not the blood of innocents.
That's right.
Yeah.
How many wars have you fought in Severuston?
3.
Rhaegar fought valiantly, Rhaegar fought nobly, and Rhaegar died.
Oop.
I mean, he has you there.
Did you know him well, Sir Barristan? She was not the last dragon.
Oh.
She's just snapping. She's just clapping back like over and over again already.
Love her.
There's that statue thing I was talking about, and then the intro I thought was really cool. Hate this guy.
Your ship will buy you 100 unsullied.
That's not very many.
The Dothraki you have are not worth what they cost to feed. But Master Kraken will give you 3
Jesus.
unsullied for all of them. I have dragons. I'll give you one.
That's the. I don't think you should do that.
You will win the throne with dragons, not slaves, Your Grace. Khaleesi.
After all that bonding, after all we've been through.
3. Dragon.
1.
2.
1. They want the biggest one. Done.
Done.
The biggest one. I mean,
I'll take you as well. Now, I value your advice, but if you ever question me in front of strangers again, you'll be advising someone else. Is that understood?
threatening to lay down the law.
Do you have Valar Morghulis? Yes. All men must die, but we are not men.
Oh.
snap the fingers.
Ledgers. I'm surprised.
Podrick.
Isaac.
Podrick is showing his thirst, I guess.
City. Pod. Take them outside. Be there in a
He's
minute.
a little distracted.
It's so funny. I can't.
Pod. Get it together.
Also, such an innocent gem.
I hate that man.
He's
Any
so
advice
annoying.
for me on my new position?
Unless Lord Twatbeard made up a bunch of nonsense about what he's really up to.
What kind of name is that?
Yes.
My lord.
Yay, Podrick. He's gonna have the time of his life.
Ridiculous face, wouldn't you say? What did you do to them?
Lots of things.
And they seemed to like these. They weren't paid.
What are you saying? These ladies enjoyed him so much they gave him the time for free.
I love this trio so much. I swear.
Yay, go Podrick.
Tyrion is shook.
Yeah, spill the tea, Podrick.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Baratheon, I wouldn't have just, sat there. I would have kept going somewhere.
I think the sign that they're not friendly is that they just tried to shoot you.
Is it my savior? Obviously not, bro.
Well, they just snatched him up, so.
You know how we deal with runaways here, do you?
Okay.
Take off his pants.
Well, that's an unexpected turn of events. Also unexpected. I really don't understand the motivation of him. Yeah, fight back. Never mind. Jamie's like shook over there.
Lord Selwyn would pay his daughter's weight in sapphires if she's returned to him. Her honor unbesmirched.
Jamie actually kind of doing a good deed for once.
Yeah.
What is this? This
Yeah.
Twilight Zone world.
Especially after he gave that speech to her, telling her to just let him do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, a change of heart, I guess.
I'm telling Sir Jaime from the tree. Come on, then.
Jamie's just the real smooth talker. What can I say? I guess.
All this work is a table.
Oh, yes.
I forgot.
Well, this doesn't look good.
Man, there
A
is.
big knife.
My father.
And if you get in any trouble, all you've got to do is say, my father. And that's it. Yeah, this should help you remember.
Oh! He just loses his hand.
I forgot. Ah! I forgot. Oh my god, my heart, my poor boy. I forgot that happened.
Damn.
Oh,
Well, no more right hand for him, I guess.
Jamie just lost his hand.
Probably gonna teach him. That's what I mean. That's crappy. He does a semi nice thing, and what's his reward? He loses a limb.
He loses his limb, but I guess at least Brienne didn't get raped, so yay.
Yeah, trade off, I guess.
Trade off. Maybe talked a little bit too much after saving Brienne, and it cost him his hand. That was episode 3, Walk of Punishment. The Walk of Punishment referring to the walk along Slavers Bay, in which the slave owners nail up and torture their slaves, put them on display to serve as lesson to the rest of their slaves to stay in line. This episode, we saw Catelyn Stark and Robb Stark return to their home, or Catelyn's home, for her father's funeral, and we met her brother and her uncle. Her brother Edmure Tully, who can't shoot an arrow, and Blackfish Tully, who got sick of all of it. Then we saw Robb just kind of get annoyed with Edmure, and then we had a nice scene of Catelyn kind of regretting a lot of things. We've seen Catelyn regretting quite a bit this season. First, with Jon, and then this episode we see her regretting that she wasn't able to visit her father before he died, and now is regretting and thinking about how Bran and Rickon probably are just like waiting and waiting and waiting for her to come home, and she fears she may never get to see them again. Then we also saw just Talisa talking to 2 little Lannister boys. So how'd you feel about that storyline, Tyler?
I thought it was decent. I mean, we got a little bit of development. I'm sure we're going to get it fleshed out more as the season goes on. But I did like the new additional characters. Well, I should say I would like one of them. Blackfish was pretty entertaining. Other one, not so much. But it's nice to see more of that family. So I guess we'll see as the story develops. I thought it was interesting that you told me that the one little boy is recast into a more prominent role. So I guess I'll put the memory his face so I can remember whatever his role ends up being in the future.
Yes, yeah, we'll see him again, just maybe not as this character. So you mentioned you loved Robb, Manda. Up to this point, how are you feeling? And particularly, I guess, with what was happening with them in this episode when it comes to Robb and Catelyn and Talisa?
I honestly, watching this again just made me like fall in love with him all over again. I just enjoy the dynamic the 3 of them share. And that's why I really loved this season. And I loved Robb just coming into his own. That's why like season 3 was just so, it stays in my mind. Like even like watching this on repeat now, it's just like, oh my God, these were such great moments. And like the whole season has that. So
then we caught up really quickly with Arya Stark, as well as the Thoros of Myr, the Brotherhood without banners man we've met most prominently so far, Gendry, Hot Pie, and the Hound. So Arya tried to remind the Hound that inn was actually where he mowed down the butcher's boy. We also saw that Hot Pie is no longer going to be a part of the Gendry Arya little adventure. He's staying behind to bake at this inn, as Arya and Gendry, as well as the Hound, are now off with the Brotherhood without banners. So it was a pretty quick scene. But how'd you feel about that business, Tyler?
I thought it was good development, at least. I guess it's unfortunate that Hot Pie is no longer going to be on the journey.
I know you're so broken up about his character not being around so much.
I mean, it's just funny because he talked about all that action, and how great he would be, and all this actiony scenes, and then he just is like, nah, I'm gonna go bake bread. Leave me alone. Yeah, I mean, it was nice. His little wolf bread, I guess. I guess it'll be interesting to see where this whole story develops. I'm still just perplexed at how they caught the Hound. So I just like he's just such like a ferocious figure. I just figure he's gonna like break out and just murder everyone.
So how'd you feel about their little moment in this episode, Manda?
It's sad. I mean, like they were so cute together, and like he's just again like there's so many like pure characters that you don't want to see anything happen, you know. And he's one of them, so I'm kind of happy he just stayed as like a baker's boy, and he's like gonna be safe. You know what I mean? So I thought that was fine. It's a good choice, and like Tyler said about the Hound, like how the hell? But he is hilarious. Oh my god, the lines that he has said, like he's just so funny.
So horrible, but also really funny.
Yeah.
Morbidly funny, yeah.
Yeah. Then we saw just a quick moment with Tywin Lannister being Hand of the King now with Cersei, and he named Tyrion as the Master of Coin. They also discussed sending Littlefinger off to marry Catelyn's sister, Lysa Arryn, up in the Eyrie. And then we see Littlefinger and Tyrion a little bit later on in the episode as Tyrion is getting some advice because Littlefinger was the Master of Coin before. We see him give Pod his reward for saving his life at the Battle of Blackwater. Little did Tyrion know that he didn't actually have to pay for said reward. Thanks to Pod's mysterious skills, it was all free of charge. How'd you feel about Tyrion's subplot this episode, Tyler?
I thought it was really good. I mean, he's always one of the most entertaining characters in my opinion, and this was no different. I mean, just the developments, I guess, when it comes to the future, now that he's, I guess, got a promotion now. I guess if you want to call it, it was more of like he was promoted, then demoted. Yes. Now he's promoted again, but it's like a lesser position.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a weird slippery slope of him giving a lot of power to no power to like in the middle power. It's better than in that little dungeony room he had, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it was entertaining. I always look forward to Tyrion and Bronn, and I guess Podrick as well now because he feels like he's part of the crew. So yeah, good for Podrick as we find out. I'm curious to hear more about that. I guess the tea aspect.
How'd you feel about Tyrion's little squad this episode, Manda?
Again, like Game of Thrones is they're so smart in who to bring together. The one person who's like really witty and like quick, and then you have the brains of it all, and then you have the innocent one, and like in this case it's so funny. I love their dynamic. And then honestly, like I would love to just sit with both of them, with Bronn and Tyrion, and just like shoot the shit and see what they have to say, because they're just such fun characters. They're great.
Then beyond the wall, we got a quick moment with Jon Snow on the move with Mance Rayder, Tormund, Ygritte, and Orell as they stumble upon a bunch of chopped up horses who are laid out in this kind of circular pattern in the snow, and the warg tells them that he did see a whole bunch of black crows, which means plenty of the Night's Watchmen died, but as we know, were brought back to life to join the army of the dead, who are apparently sending some sort of message by leaving this design out. How'd you feel about the Jon scene in this episode, Tyler?
I thought it was a decent development. I mean, we didn't get too much time with that storyline this episode, but at least it added a little bit to the mystery elements of what's to come with the White Walkers and all of them. Just because they seem to like to leave designs. At least they're coordinated. I mean, I'm intrigued to see what the signs mean, and once it all comes to a head, what it's going to be like. Because I'm assuming eventually it's going to come to a head. And it's going to be a big battle between them and the White Walkers.
All right, Manda.
We didn't get much like for that scene. I never, I'm gonna get flack for this, but like I never cared for Jon through a majority of the season. I'm so sorry. Like I thought there were more interesting characters, but yeah, there wasn't much to work with. Sorry, guys, don't hate me.
Well, moving along to John's little best friend, we saw Lord Commander Mormont as well as Samuel, Gren, and Ed make their way back to our favorite house out in the wild,
Yeah.
Rasters. But we do see that the woman Samuel has been obsessing over the last season, Gilly, is giving birth, and she gave birth to a baby boy. Uh-oh. And we know what Craster does with his baby boys now. How'd you feel about that scene, Tyler?
I guess it's tough to say because like I do love Samwell. It's just like I don't know where this story is going in the sense like the point. I guess. I mean, I guess it's nice that Samwell has some sort of optimism and he seems to really like this woman. I imagine because he's already tried basically once and John shut him down that he'll probably, especially now that there's more urgency since her kid's a boy, I imagine that he'll probably try and get her the hell out of there.
Were you just so excited to see Craster again?
I was hoping that we weren't ever going to see him again after we left that last time, but I guess we had to come back and at least take Gilly out of there with her boy. Maybe Samuel gets to be like a stepdad or something.
How did you feel about the scene at Craster's house, Manda?
It's always creepy. It's just creepy, that whole situation. I just can't. I just love Samuel. Again, another innocent character, really like sweet, and like nothing should ever happen to him. You know, we all love him, so I hope that people like feel the same way. But yeah, it was a good development on his part. It's always cute to see the two of them. So,
and then we saw Theon be let out of his dungeon. He's told that his sister is waiting for him if he just rides out there, and he does ride out there, but it's not really his sister who is waiting for him.
It's everyone else
attacked, but he is saved at the nick of time by this person who claims to be working with his sister who let him out, and they are once again riding toward hopefully some sort of safety. So how'd you feel about Theon, Tyler?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really like Theon very much anymore, so I'm kind of
Karma struck pretty quick on Theon. It got him fast, so
I'm a little indifferent about him in general these days. I wasn't really happy nor sad about any of the developments. I feel like he kind of deserved some of the comeuppance he was getting up until when they were about to like rape him. I was like, that was a bit jarring.
He did flat out murder quite a few people in Winterfell. So
that's what I mean,
including 2 children. I mean, they weren't Bran and Rickon, but they were
I imagine
small children that he murdered. So
that's why it's so hard to like Theon anymore, because like he had a great arc in the first season, then he kind of just squandered it all last season, and now I don't like him anymore. And I could care less about if he lives or dies, because he kind of deserves comeuppance in some regard. I just don't trust that guy. It all seems to play out very conveniently around him, with like how Theon was strung up, and then everybody leaves, and he comes in and says he's going to save him, and then saves him, and they just get out of there free, scot-free, and then as he's about to be murdered and sodomized or whatever, he comes to save the day, like out of nowhere. It just seems kind of weird to me.
Amanda, how did you feel about Theon's little moments this episode?
he gets what he deserves. Like you said, you literally said that he murdered children, and he just like did the worst of the worst, and like he
hacked Sir Roderick's head off. Oh,
yeah,
horribly too.
Oh, it's just. He's the worst.
Well, then we saw just a scene with Stannis Baratheon and Melisandre as she is preparing to go somewhere. She doesn't tell him where or what she's up to or what she's doing, but she is leaving for the moment. Not to desert him, she assures, as she thinks he is the rightful king and she plans on getting him on that throne. But he's like, give me another son. When she's like, no, you're too weak, it'll kill you. He's like, I don't care.
At least they explained it, because that was what I wondered all these episodes. Like, why don't they just do it again? And like, what's the holdup, so to speak?
But Stannis is hellbent on killing Joffrey and Robb. How did you feel about that quick moment with those two, Tyler?
I found it entertaining, like just in the sense that like I got the answers I wanted, but why couldn't they just do another one? At least for the time frame, I guess they can't. So I guess we'll see. I thought her line was interesting. Was when Melisandre was talking about how like other people with the Baratheon bloodline in them. So I'm thinking like, is she gonna go like bother Joffrey? I'm trying to think of like the people who are left that are Baratheon, but I guess he's a Lannister, so no.
It was Stannis who told everyone he has no Baratheon blood. So
So I guess there's maybe there's a secret other Baratheon somewhere.
all right, and Manda, how do you feel about them?
Their dynamic is so strange, but like it's just strange. But Melisandre, like she's a badass, and every single like scene that she's in, she just like owns it, and I love watching her. And we were talking about the costume design as well for her, which is just wicked every single time that she's on screen. So
Always red.
Always red. So red is a great color.
Everything's all gray and like blacks, muted grays and muted blacks, and here she is just in bright red. Every scene.
Were you shook the first time you saw her give birth to the demon baby, Amanda?
I didn't know what to do with myself. I was just like watching this, like, oh my god.
I felt like Davos in that scene.
Only in Game of Thrones, guys. Only in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Well, then the namesake of the episode, we go over to Daenerys, and she's kind of having an advisor meeting on the boardwalk, if you will, as she talks to both Sir Jorah and Sir Barristan, who are a bit at odds. It seems Jorah has not come around to having another knight on Dany's team at the moment, an old advisor. But she seems to be kind of trying to take in both of what they have to say. And she sees all of those slaves on the walk and obviously feels bad that they're just out there dying, tries to give them water, they don't accept. But she then goes to Master Krysnes and his little translator, Missandei, and bargains to buy the Unsullied. And after a barrage of insults from him yet again, which Missandei very gracefully translates in a more palatable and friendly way, Daenerys offers her biggest dragon in return for the entire Unsullied army, as well as the untrained Unsullied, and the master agrees to the deal and seals it with giving her Missandei right then and there as an act of goodwill. But Sir Barristan and Sir Jorah were shook. They could not believe what they were hearing, with Daenerys trading one of her dragons away for the Unsullied army, and found themselves chastised for questioning her in front of everyone else soon after. So how'd you feel about Daenerys this episode, Tyler?
I thought it was really great. I mean, she's become a pretty great character in the show as a whole, and not even just I guess her leadership skills are getting better, but also just her, I guess, clapback skills as well. As she has no problem clapping back to like anyone that seems to kind of step in her way, which is great. Storyline wise, I don't know. I don't think she's gonna give up any of her dragons. I feel like that's not gonna happen. But like, I mean, I can understand why Sir Barristan and Jorah would be unhappy that she's going to try and give away one of her dragons since they're so rare, and not even that, but they're one of the biggest dragon of them all. So it sounds kind of bad if you ask me. It doesn't seem like a proper trade. All these men versus one giant dragon. I feel like the dragon would win. All
right, Manda, how did you feel about her in this specific episode?
The thing that I love about her is that she has so much confidence, as Tyler said, and we see that in each episode and each season she develops that. She held her own. She went toe to toe. Her clapbacks, as Tyler said, like it's just, she is just such an incredible character, and I love how she delivers like certain pieces of dialogue because it's so forceful, and she's confident in herself and who she is and what her name means in Westeros. Like I think that's such an important thing, especially in this episode. I feel like that came out and it carries out through every single season, but she's brilliant for that reason, and I adore her.
Tyler, we heard your favorite phrase previously used for Arya, but this time by Missandei with Valar Morghulis.
My favorite phrase, yeah.
Well, then finally, we saw Brienne and Jaime, who are now hostages to the Boltons, of all people, who are fighting for the North. Brienne tries to explain to them that she was sent by Catelyn Stark to take Jaime back to King's Landing, but they're not very happy with Catelyn either because obviously she let Jaime go. So her name unfortunately doesn't seem to hold much weight in helping Brienne in that scenario. But Jaime, after giving her this long speech about just let them rape you and do what they want with you instead of getting killed, he steps up and says, hey, you can't kill her. Her father is literally the owner, if you will, the lord of the island of sapphires. So they don't rape her. Yay! Unfortunately for Jaime, though, they
not
cut
yay
off
for him.
his right hand. So Tyler, how'd you feel about Brienne and Jaime?
I mean, I enjoy their banter back and forth each time they have scenes together. I guess it was an interesting turn of events that Jaime actually seemed to actually have a heart for once and chose to, I guess, step in to stop Brienne from being assaulted and or potentially worse things along the way. I guess it's unfortunate that it cost him his literal hand in the process. Not looking too good as far as his future prospects as a fighter. He's supposed to be the Kingslayer, and now he has one hand. I don't know. It was nice that he showed some sort of soul. I guess he's usually been quite arrogant and self-centered, and in this moment, at least, hopefully it's not temporary, but at least in this moment, he showed he had some soul and humanity, even if he may change his mind because now he has one less hand.
Manda, how'd you feel about those two this episode?
Listen, the reason why I loved season 3 is because of them too. Like their banter, as Tyler said, oh my god, I just adore them so much. I used to read the fan fiction, and I'm
oh god.
I said it, I don't care. And Brienne brings out the best in him, and I think that's what I love about it, because you see that moment when they're taking Brienne away, and he, like, if you see it, Nicolas, like his eyes, like that's where it's very telling, and that he's thinking of what could possibly happen, and then that's when you feel like he's not a monster, you know what I mean? So it's just, and he has a heart. That moment is where you kind of turn on Jaime as well. I mean, that's what kind of happened with me. But I loved watching this again. I really did.
All right. Well, Manda, this part is you can't really take part in because you know. But Tyler, what are your predictions moving forward? So we have Jaime now losing a hand. We have Daenerys making a deal to trade away her dragon for an army. And we have like Arya going with this Brotherhood without banners. So what are your predictions across the board, across the series?
At least as far as those go, I imagine that Daenerys is going to probably find some way to get that army without giving one of her dragons away. Hopefully she just murders that bald dude, because I don't like him very much. As far as other storylines, I imagine Jaime's going to be very upset that he has one less hand. I imagine that's going to make for some interesting conversations between Brienne and him. Maybe they'll have more of a heart-to-heart connection because Brienne realizes that he literally gave up a hand for her, so I don't know. Maybe it'll be romantic. Maybe it'll be just platonic. I guess we'll see. I still have no clue where like Arya's storyline's going at this moment. She's kind of just gallivanting in the world, which I'm fine with. I mean, I enjoy her as a character, and wherever she goes, I don't know where it's leading. Same with like Bran and Rickon and Hodor and Osha and all them. They're kind of just stories that are just gallivanting in the wilderness and directionless. It almost feels like, to a point. Same with like John and them. I mean, but at least they have like a clear endpoint, at least, that they're going to probably have a conflict with the White Walkers at some point.
Now, who are your favorite and least favorite characters of this episode? We'll start with you, Manda.
Obviously, Jaime, Dany, Brienne, Faves, and Theon is just the worst.
All right, Tyler.
For me, my faves are probably most of the same ones as Amanda. Tyrion is one I really enjoy always. Tyrion, Bronn, Podrick, really, I guess, all of them. But I mean, Daenerys is really great as well. I probably put her above almost all of them except Tyrion, and because I just like Tyrion's always entertaining. Jaime's, I mean, I hate this put Jaime in the pile of people I like, but I feel like I'm obligated to after this episode. episode because he actually showed some humanity and made me actually kind of like him as a character. So Jaime and Brienne as well, even if she like just as she's one of the enjoyable characters. And also, like, I feel like I have to put Blackfish in just because his scenes in the very beginning of the episode were entertaining to me. He was just so done.
He's a great shot, so
He's just like
annoyed. That boat.
Least faves. I mean, you have to put Theon in there just because he's just such a terrible person. It's one of those things because Jaime is usually a character I dislike, so I can't put him in the dislike pile. And we didn't get any Joffrey, so I can't put. And Cersei didn't really do anything that was like evil in this episode, so I can't put her in the bad pile either.
She did her little weird chair power move. That was like
that's
her.
That was it. That was it, really, for her in this episode. Though she didn't really do anything too despicable. Probably Theon and the bald guy.
Oh, Master Crazy from Daenerys' storyline.
Yeah. Those are the two that I really didn't enjoy all that much.
Craster isn't back up there for you in his return.
Well, yeah, I guess I would throw him in there too. So,
telling his wife he would punch her if she didn't shut up in childbirth. And saying if my pig over here can give birth to a litter of 8, you can give birth to 1. All right. Well, that was our reaction and discussion for season 3, episode 3 of Game of Thrones. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, click that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on my latest videos, including each and every one of our Game of Thrones reactions. Also, make sure to follow both of my co-hosts. Tyler, do you want to let them know where they can find you?
Yeah, sure. You can find me by searching up my name on the screen, Tyler Calvert, on YouTube and on Twitter and Instagram at It's Tyler Calvert.
And Manda, thank you so much for joining us. Would you like to let them know where they can find you?
Yeah, I had such a blast. So thanks, guys. You guys can find me at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. You can find me on YouTube at Candid Cinema. And you can go check out my website, candidxcinema.com.
Perfect. And make sure to leave your thoughts. What do you think of season 3, episode 3, Walk of Punishment? Leave your comments either in the comment section down below, or you can hit all 3 of us up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.